One question I always want to ask, from your perspective, because you know far more literary agents than I'm ever going to know. You have a far broader perspective of the industry overall. So beyond just checking online, and obviously anybody who's watching or listening to this is already a subscriber to the podcast. They're head and shoulders above the other riffraff writers. But what is a good way to evaluate an agent short of meeting them in person? And even that sometimes is not a great tell, because somebody can put up a great front for a night or two at a conference, and then over time you're going to learn that they've got some bad work habits. So assuming somebody's listened to this, they say, my God, John Rudolph sounds like the perfect agent, and they send you a query, but it's about the Civil War and there's no humor in it, and you say, no, I'm out. But then they have to go the sad way of finding another agent.
Sure.
What are the best ways for authors to evaluate literary agents and try and find somebody that's going to be reputable and going to be a good fit?
Well, I mean, I think so. So one thing I certainly recommend, as we discussed before, check the acknowledgments of published books that you love from major publishers, and see who those agents are. Once you have done that, look in Publishers Weekly or in Publishers Marketplace, and see again if they're those agents who they're selling to. I mean, I think a good tell for a reputable agent is if it's someone who is selling to the major publishers, the big six publishers. If you're finding an agent who's done a lot of little deals or has done a lot of foreign deals, but not a lot of sales to major publishers, that can be a sign that this person is not great. Certainly, you never want to work with someone who charges for their services. I mean, that's disreputable. And any agent who charges for services is not really an agent. They're going against the AAR guidelines. I mean, so yeah, you want to look out for them. It is perfectly legitimate once you start talking to agents to ask to speak to some of their clients. When authors ask me that, I'm perfectly happy to put them in touch with clients who will hopefully say wonderful things about me. That can be extremely helpful for evaluating. I will say, beyond that, I think I think beyond that, it's just really, there are, and I don't want to give any websites or listservs or anything, or Twitter feeds to specifics, just because I don't really know them. But I know there's a lot of chatter out there about these things. And I know there are websites that discuss good agents, bad agents. I know, you can look up and see if they are members of the AAR. What's that? Association of Author Representatives, I think it's called. You can look at the Writers Guild. And for the children's side, you can see who has been involved in the children's book community, who's been doing SCBWI appearances, who what kinds of books they've sold. That's another thing too. If you're a middle grade author and you're looking at agents and you get a bite from an agent who's only done adult work, that's kind of a sign there. So you do your research like anything else. You're applying for a job. You don't just apply for a job without knowing what the company is or what it does. Look them up. The information is out there.
Yeah, unfortunately, authors, not all authors, but some, are endlessly lazy, because over the, I think it's 13 or 14 years now that I've been running Middle Grade Ninja, I've gotten more than once a year the email from a random author who says, hello, stranger. One of these days, I'm going to read one of your books, but for today, I just wondered if you could take a look at my proposal and maybe recommend the 5 or 10 best agents for me to query. It's like, come on, man, I got a whole blog. Go read. It's available.
Yeah.